I really felt like the best way for more people to hear about what God has done in Jesus Christ was to do it in the context of a local church. So everything after that has been yes. Whatever we got to do to get there, because that's what I feel like the Lord's called me to. My name's Nico Williams.
And I'm Candace.
And we're planting a church in 2025. Way back in 2017, I was a junior in college, and the Lord was just doing some awesome things in me. There was a sermon series that I listened to, and I just heard about what Jesus had done for me, and it just really threw my world upside down. Like, I heard things like, because of what Jesus Christ did, I no longer have to work for my acceptance. That has been totally given as a gift from God. And the affirmation of the Lord was something that really resonated with me deeply. And so as a result of that, I just went around talking to everybody I knew, like, hey, do you know this about your salvation? Do you know Jesus loves you unconditionally? Like, there's nothing else that you can do to make him love you anymore, and there's no sin you can commit to make him love you any less. And that summer, actually, I had an issue with one of my directors in college, and I just decided I was gonna quit theater. And I go up to our college director at the time. His name was John Sheets. He's with our Port City Church in Norfolk. And I say to John, John, what can I do with a theater degree? And he looks at me, he puts his hand on my shoulder, and he says, hey, I see in you the makings of a church planter. And I said, what? I walked away. I had no idea what a church planter was. I wasn't interested in it. And to make a longer story shorter, the Lord just continued to show me, like, there's a need for more churches. He continued to show me, like, I'm calling you and I'm gifting you for this. Like, all of your life has kind of led up to this. And so I finally just said yes. After that, after being a part of Mercy Hills College Ministry while I was in college, I became a college resident. And the Lord just really showed me the starting blocks of how to lead people as a college resident at North Carolina A&T.
From 2017 until now, like, church planting has just kind of been a bunch of small steps of obedience. And for me, that has just looked like, sometimes without the excitement, well, I'm not as much of an excited person as our brother Nico here, but that's just looked like being faithful to, like, say yes to exploring what does church planting look like. What does it look like for us to accept more leadership?
So after I finally said yes to what I felt like God was calling me to in church planting, I just kind of said yes to everything else, whatever else that meant.
My family is not mine, it's mine to steward. And that is something that I don't have to hold, like, tight fists. Like, I'm not the one that's gonna keep our family, like the Lord is. And so it's just been like learning, like, what is our next step of obedience.
So the name of the church is called Greenhouse Church. We're excited about it. There's some symbolism behind the name. Why Greenhouse Church, Candace?
Greenhouse Church, we know that God is gonna do the growing, but we want to create the environment where people can thrive.
That's exactly right. You think about a greenhouse, that's exactly what's happening. The farmers and the botanists, they've created this environment for the plants to grow in the best way possible. Sometimes, like, when you go and you look in John chapter 15, Jesus says, I'm the vine and you are the branches. Whoever abides in me and I in him, he it is that will bear much fruit. He continues on and he says, like, my Father is the gardener. And so sometimes that means there's some pruning. Sometimes that means that there's some hard things you got to go through. But at the end of the day, the gardener is about these plants growing and thriving and producing a lot of fruit. So that kind of even leads us into our mission. Like, what are we trying to do with Greenhouse Church? And the mission is simple: being with Jesus and bearing fruit. That's all we're trying to do. The more that you're with Jesus, the more you're captured by his heart, the more he changes you, and the world around you changes as a result of your relationship with him. So Candace.
Yep.
Where are we planting a church?
So long awaited. We are planting a church right down the street in Greensboro, North Carolina. Our experience has been that one church is not going to reach the whole city.
Yeah.
But
one of the organizations we partner with and connect to says planting churches everywhere for everybody. We just have realized, and this is very clear in any church, like, Mercy Hill Church isn't going to be able to reach everybody in Greensboro, just like Greenhouse Church isn't going to be able to reach everybody in Greensboro. Mm-hmm. But when we cooperate, we work together, we can all take our place in playing the part of, like, seeing God's mission go forward.